This machine's wheels are taller than I am, and it scoops up tons of rock. This is a giant wheel loader, and it can lift tons of rock in one scoop. Welcome back. Today, we're building a giant wheel loader from flat sheets of thick steel.
It all starts with the back frame, which holds the engine. A plasma torch cuts thick steel plates into the shape of the frame. Workers line up the heavy plates and clamp them tight together. A welder joins them with long, glowing seams of molten steel.
This back frame has to carry the heavy engine and the rear wheels.
A big machine then shaves the rough frame perfectly smooth and flat. A quick coat of primer protects the bare steel frame from rust.
Now they build a second frame for the front of the machine.
This front frame will hold the loader arms and the front wheels.
Here's the clever part. The machine bends right in the middle. A huge steel hinge is built to join the front and back frames together. Instead of turning its wheels, the whole machine folds to steer.
Workers press a thick steel pin through the hinge to lock it.
Now for the part that everyone notices first. The huge wheels.
First, a machine casts and shapes a thick steel wheel rim. A cutting tool trims the heavy rim until it's perfectly round and true.
Then comes the tire, and this tire is taller than a person.
A machine stretches the giant tire and slides it onto the rim. Air fills the tire until it's hard and ready to roll.
The machine needs 4 of these giant wheels to carry its weight. Each wheel bolts onto a strong axle built to take huge loads.
Inside each hub, small gears multiply the power many times over.
With the wheels on, the bare machine can finally stand on its own. These wheels are taller than me. Would you drive this thing? Tell me below.
Now the machine gets its heart, a big and powerful diesel engine.
A crane lowers the heavy engine onto its mounts in the back frame. This single engine puts out the power of many hundreds of horses.
Workers bolt the engine down hard onto its thick steel mounts.
Behind it, they fit a big radiator to keep the engine cool.
A large fan blows air through the radiator all day long. Then comes a big fuel tank, enough to work a whole shift.
Beside it sits another big tank, full of thick hydraulic oil. Now the engine needs a way to send its power to the wheels. First comes the transmission, a heavy steel box packed full of gears. It bolts right behind the engine and picks the right speed.
From there, thick spinning shafts carry the power forward and back.
One long shaft runs to the front axle, past the hinge.
Another short shaft runs straight back to the rear axle. Now all four wheels can pull at once over any ground.
That's what lets this giant climb a pile of loose rock without slipping. Now for the hydraulics, the muscle that lifts the heavy loads.
Heavy pumps are bolted onto the engine to push the oil.
These pumps push the thick oil out at an incredible pressure.
The oil flows to a control block full of tiny moving valves. Remember the hinge? Two big cylinders bend it left and right. When one cylinder pushes, the whole machine folds and turns. Then workers run a maze of thick hoses all through the machine.
Every hose is clamped down tight so nothing ever leaks.
Now the machine needs a place for the driver to sit.
Machines stamp and weld steel panels into a strong safety cab.
Big glass windows go in so the driver can see the bucket.
Inside go a seat, a steering wheel, and one lever for the bucket.
With one hand, the driver steers. With the other, he loads. A crane lifts the finished cab and sets it on the back frame.
Watch it fold in the middle to turn. Which part surprised you most? Comment below. Now the front gets its arms, the part that does the lifting.
Workers weld two thick steel lift arms out of heavy folded plate. These arms carry the bucket up and down at the front.
In the middle sits a clever bent link, shaped like the letter Z.
That Z-shaped link is what tips the bucket up so fast.
Big lift cylinders are pinned on to raise the heavy arms. Their shiny chrome rods slide out to push the arms up high.
Last comes the bucket, the giant scoop at the very front.
Workers weld thick, curved steel plates into one huge, wide scoop.
This bucket can hold several tons of rock in a single scoop.
A sharp steel edge is welded along the front to slice into piles. Then workers bolt a row of strong steel teeth along that cutting edge.
These teeth bite into packed rock like a giant claw.
A tilt cylinder is added to curl the bucket up and back.
Now the biggest moment. The two big halves finally come together.
A crane holds the front frame up to the back frame. Workers line up the big hinge and drop the pin through it. Now the machine can fold in the middle, just as planned. Then the crane lifts the big lift arms onto the front frame. Workers pin the arms in place so they can swing up and down.
Then the huge bucket is pinned onto the front of the arms.
The Z-shaped link connects the bucket to its tilt cylinder. Workers connect every last cylinder and hose across the bending hinge.
And just like that, a pile of steel is finally a whole machine.
There it is, wheels, hinge, and bucket all as one. Did you know this? Subscribe.
Now the whole machine rolls into a giant paint booth.
Sprayers cover the whole machine in bright, easy-to-see safety yellow.
Workers add the numbers, and the giant finally looks brand new. The machine is finished. Now it's time for the real test. A driver climbs the ladder, sits down, and starts the big engine.
The engine roars, and the huge wheels start to roll.
The machine folds at the hinge and turns toward a pile of rock.
It drives straight in, and the bucket bites deep into the pile. The Z-bar curls, and the bucket scoops up a huge load of rock.
The lift arms raise the full bucket high into the air. The machine folds again and swings toward a waiting truck. The bucket tips forward and pours the rock into the truck bed.
In one scoop, it moves what would take people all day. Then it rolls back for more, thousands of pounds at a time. And that's how a giant wheel loader gets made. Thanks for watching. See you next time.